Well, hello again. As you probably know, if you haven't been living under a rock, today is Tuesday. So it's February 22nd, 2022. So it would be 2/22/22 or 22/2/22, depending on how you do dates in your country. And you have to leave off the leading zeros on the twos and the 20 in the 2022. Anyways, there's a lot of twos in today, and it's Tuesday.
You
So
know
there.
everyone's already done the
What?
Tuesday thing on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I know, because I don't plan ahead.
You're not going to try and do some lame duplication joke or something like that.
No, I wouldn't do that. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyways, so today I am going to be doing two puzzles that are loosely related to the number two. I did actually a couple of years ago set a puzzle themed around the number two that was also a palindrome related puzzle because it was for 2/2/2020, which would be 02/02/2020, which uses the leading zeros and the thing. So it's arguably better than this date. But anyways, yeah, so let's get to the puzzle. All right, so the first puzzle we're going to look at here is a star battle. Now, I was kind of looking for some puzzles related to the number two, and I wasn't really finding much. And then I remembered I solved some puzzles by someone named Twototenth before. They have the number two in their name. There you go. That's a two connection. So I started looking for puzzles from 2/10th, and I found this star battle, which I thought was interesting because there's two stars in a star battle. And then I've also got a Sudoku by 2/10th that we're going to do in a minute. So I'll leave timestamps at the description. So if you want to watch one puzzle or the other or jump around, whatever, you can. But this one is a star battle. And so the way star battle works, if you're not familiar, is we are placing two stars in every region, or every row, every column, and in every region. So you'll see there's two stars in row one here, two stars in column one, and there's two stars in this region here. And then we could put another star there or something for this region. And stars cannot touch orthogonally, which means they can't be next to each other, but they also can't touch diagonally. So you couldn't do something like this. And that's all the rules. You're just placing stars. You can click in the grid to place a star. You can right click to say this is not a star. You can also right click to put dots that will tell you, like, there's a star somewhere in one of these two. Things like that. And that is all the rules. So I'm going to give it a try now. Link in the description if you want to try it yourself. And here we go. Reset the timer. Okay, so these plus shapes, I can immediately see you can't put a star in the middle because, if you try it, you'll see, it rules out the rest of the region. You have to put two stars in every region. So we can do that. And now I think, right, yeah, so you can't do something like this because they can't touch diagonally, right? So wherever you put a star in this plus shape, the other one is going to have to be across from it, whether they're both vertical or both horizontal. Now, if I do horizontal, it rules out the horizontal over here and forces it to be vertical, right? Which would then force this one to be horizontal and this one to be vertical. If you go the other way, it does the same thing. The vertical will force this one to be horizontal. This is vertical. This is horizontal. So we don't know which way they go, but we know they're kind of every other around. They turn as you go around, essentially. But what we do know is one of these two at the top is going to be horizontal, which will use up both the stars in the row. And same thing down here. And the same for the columns here, vertically. One of the two is going to have the stars vertically, which is going to use up all of them in the column. Now, another thing that I know, you might have to play with it if you don't quite see why, but these cannot be stars because no matter where you put whichever orientation you do, vertical or horizontal, it's going to rule out those four corners. So we can go ahead and do that. Now, what do we want to do next? So these three cells over here are interesting to me because we're basically cutting the grid in half here, right? There's a top half and a bottom half, except for these three cells. Now that's 1, 2, 3, that's 6 rows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions, right? So in the 6 regions, each region is going to have 2 stars. There's 12 stars in those 6 regions. There's also 12 stars in 6 rows. So the 12 stars in these bottom 6 rows are all going to be used up by those 6 regions, and you cannot have a star in any of those 3. And we can use the same logic down here because these two regions at the bottom, while they exist in 3 rows, right? The bottom 3 rows, these 2 regions, but we've already ruled out these in this, so they're essentially restricted to 2 rows now. So between those 2 regions, they're going to have 4 stars. They will all be in those bottom 2 rows, so we can rule out all of these. This region is interesting to me too, and it's the same as this one up here, just sort of flipped over. Because what I'm thinking is we're already using, one of these plus shapes is going to be horizontal, right? One of these two. And so we've already got 1 star in both of those columns. So if we put a star here, that would be fine. But that's going to rule out that one. And now you've got, so I guess another way to look at it is if we don't have a star in this domino here, right? If we don't, you have to have one in that domino and one down here. So essentially, you have to have a star in one of these 2 dominoes, because if there's not a star in this domino, there is a star in that domino. You could have them in both, but at least one. But the same thing applies up here. You have to have one in at least one of these 2 dominoes. And since we already have a star in both of those columns, if we did both, it would rule out both dominoes at the top. And then you don't have room to put 2 stars in that region anymore. And so they have to have at least one, but they can also have at most one. They both have to have one, which puts one in the little L shape here. Rules out that. And so now these top 2 regions are almost the same as down here, right? Where they're restricted to 2 rows. The only exception is this cell. And so if this is not a star, you can't put a star in there. And likewise, if there is a star here, you have to have a star in that 2x2 square up there. Oh, and right, so we said we had to have a star. These domino things. We have a star in these dominoes, and they're going to be, diagonal from each other, right? Because they match up with the star that's in one of these pluses. So those 2 columns are then taken up by, the one at the top and the one in one of the pluses. So we can fill in these in here, and now, okay, yes, this region here, both of its stars are in columns 1 and 2. And in fact, so in a 2x2 box, you can kind of try it and see, but if you put a star, you can't put one anywhere else in that 2x2 region. You can only put 1 star in each 2x2 square, essentially. So you can put 1 star in there. We have to have one up here. Now, if it's not in that square at the top, right, if there's not a star here, then there has to be one in that domino. And so what that means is there's either a star in this domino or there's a star right here. Either way, that uses up the other one that's not in one of these pluses. So we can rule out this and that. And over here, so we've got 2 stars in this region that are in columns 1 and 2. We've got another one in columns 1 and 2 right here. So there can only be one in here. The other one in this sort of elephant-shaped region has to be over here. So there has to be a star in one of those 2. Which means what? Has to be one in here. There's one up there. Oh, yes, having one in here, right. Either way, it rules out that cell. If you put a star in either of those places, it rules out that one. And now we know the order of the plus shapes. And we can fill in a whole bunch of stuff around, because remember, you can't put a star diagonally from another star. So we can rule out all of those surrounding it. Now, that should help us quite a bit, theoretically. Ruled out a lot of stuff. So, yes, and so now in this big winding region here, we have to have one in this little backwards L, and then one in this square over here. And we can have at most 2 up here, because this section that's the same region, we can have at most 2, plus 1 is 3. The 4th one in those 2 columns has to be down here, and in fact, we have to have both of them in there. We can't have any in here. And to have both of them in there, again, you can only have one in a 2x2 square, so we have to have one there, which is going to rule out those. We now have 2 in the column, so the other one goes there. There's one in this domino here. This 3rd row is done now, and in fact, we put a star there, which means you have to have one in the top. This row has both of its stars now, so there's going to be one in this box up here. There's one in this row. Yeah, so we can only have, let's look at these 2 rows here, right? We've got one in this square, 1 star is right there. We can only have one in this section because we've already got a star in that section. The 4th one in those 2 rows has to be right there, which is going to finish off the row. Rules out those. And so now there's a star in one of these 2, which is going to finish that column. So we can only have a star in one of these 2 dominoes. So there's one down here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we know there's a star in one of these 2 dominoes, right? We already said that, these 2 dominoes here. And it has to be in this bottom row. Now, if it's right here, it forces this one down there, right? If it's right here, it forces this one down here. So wherever you put the star here, it's going to force a 2nd star in that bottom row. So we can fill in that, which means there's a star in one of these 2. Okay, there's one in this domino here, right? Either place you put that, it rules out both of those, which puts a star right there. Which is the rest of that row, puts a star there. There's one in this domino now. Oh, right, and that star, yeah, we got to remember to mark our thing. So now the only place left in this region is right there. Just going to rule that out, put one right there. Perfect. Now, that one rules out this because it's diagonal, puts a star there. That finishes the column, puts stars in those spots. That finishes this whole row, which puts a star in that domino. There's one in one of these 2. We're almost there. How do we get the last little bit? I'm not seeing something I should see probably. So one of these 2, one of those 2. Oh, right. I said if we put it here, it forces one there, but then you'd have 3 in the bottom row. This has to be the star down here, right there. And then that means this column is done, which puts a star there, which rules that out, puts that, finishes it. There we go, complete. All right, so that was the X-Wing, star battle called X-Wing by 2-10th. Very cool puzzle, very fun. It's a neat trick with the plus shapes in here, and there was a lot of X-Wing stuff, like we had, X-Wings with the pluses, essentially, and then, a star battle X-Wing. It's kind of like a Sudoku X-Wing, but a little bit different, but it's kind of the same idea. And then we also had these X-Wings up here with these kind of diagonal dominoes, and almost the same situation over here, but not quite because we forced these up here. Either way, cool puzzle, very neat. Thank you 2-10th for that puzzle. And now we're going to look at a Sudoku by 2-10th. All right, the next puzzle is a Sudoku by 2-10th. It is called Nana Bear or Nana Bear. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why it's called that, but that's what it is. So there we go. The rules are normal Sudoku rules, and then we have fairly typical crop key rules here. The black dots separate cells that have a 1-to-2 ratio, like 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 8, something like that. The white dots, however, typically would be consecutive digits, right? But this time, because they have the 4s in them, it means that they differ by 4. So you could put a 1 and a 5, a 2 and a 6, something like that in there. And that is all the rules. Not all the not dots are necessarily given. We could have, you know, a 1 and a 2 here without a black dot. That would be okay. And that's it. So link in the description if you want to give it a try yourself. I'm going to give it a shot now. We'll see how it goes. Let's reset the timer. And there we go. So, well, I mean, this 444, the series of 4s up here is where to start, because it has to be 159. Now, we don't know if it's 159 or 951, but it has to be that. And because of the black dot, there's nothing that can have a ratio of 2 with a 9. So we do know the order there. It's 9 and 1. This is then for a 2 and a 6, 3, and 7. That's all forced by those dots. That leaves 4 and 8. Let's see, the 2, 6, and 3 takes out a lot of options for the black dot here. So we can't do 1 and 2. We can't do 2 and 4. We can't do 3 and 6. It has to be 4 and 8. Interesting. 4, 8, and 4, 8. This one can't be a 1. It also can't be 4, 8, because if you had 4, 8 in here, this would have no options. So this could have to be either 2, 4, or 3, 6. Do we know much about this? Well, it can't be 4, 8 either. And it can't be 1, 5, or 9. So it's got to be either 2, 6 or 3, 7, right? But it can't be 2, 6 because this is either 2, 4 or 3, 6. And so if this is 2, 6, you have no options for that. So this has to be 3, 7, which means this is 2, 4. These are 6 and 8, I believe. Oh, and the 2, 4 there. The 2, 4 pair is going to give us an 8 there and a 4. The 8 is going to give us a 6 and an 8. There we go. It's a good start. These are 1, 5, 7, and 9. The 3, 7 here means those aren't 7. From there, where do we go? This is interesting. So we can't use 1 or 8. Oh, okay, so this can't be 1, 2 or 4, 8, right? But it also can't be 2, 4 because there would be nothing to put there. So this has to be 3, 6, which then means these are 2 and 7. We don't know which order it is, but the 2, 7 pair there, though, is going to give us 4 and 2 and 3 and 7. Very nice. Now, I'm wondering about this one down here, because we can't do 1, 5. We can't do 2, 6. We can't do 3, 7. We can't do 4, 8. It's got to be 5, 9. Very nice. So this is therefore 4 and not 6. 4 and 7 to complete the column. Which means this one is either 3 or 8, which unfortunately it can be either one right now. Is this very limited? I don't know that it is. We can't do 2, 3, or 4 here. But it could be 1 with 2, 6 with 3, or 8 with 4. Hold on, I gotta pause and blow my nose, sorry. Okay, back, sorry. Okay, so let's see, where were we? 6, 8. Oh, the 2, 7 here. Look, 2, 7 makes this a 4. Which makes that a 7, and that's a 3. Okay. Good. Now, all right, what do we have left here? These are 1, 5, 8, and 9, and the 9 can't be here, so this has to be the 9. So that 1, 5, 8, so these are, 2, 3, 4, unfortunately. That one can't be a 3. And these are 1, 6, and 8. Unfortunately, that doesn't rule any options out of here, though. What about this one? Look, we've got 6, 8, and 4 down here. So this has to be 1, 2, or 3, right? With 2, 4, or 6 then. But it can't be 3, 6, because if it's 3, 6, there's nothing to put in here. So this This is either 1, 2, or 2, 4. Either way, there's a 2 in there. That forces this to be 7, 3, 6, and 2. 3, 3. So there's a 3 up here. Doesn't tell us too much. Okay, let's look at this one, because we could do, what could we do? We could do 1, 5. Can't do 2, 6. Can't do 3, 7. Can't do 4, 8. It could be 5, 9. But it definitely has a 5. Now, I could, at this point, say this has to be 1, 5. And I know this is going to end up being a 1, 5. But I'm not going to use that because it uses the uniqueness argument, which you can debate whether that's okay or not. I'm not necessarily always opposed to it, but I just prefer not to if I can help it. The reason there's a uniqueness argument is if this ends up being 5, 9, there's no way to determine which of these is the 5 and which one is the 9. So you're going to have what's called a deadly pattern. But I'm going to not use that right now. But I do know there's a 5 here and there's a 5 here no matter what. So we have a 5 up there. And it can't be on a black dot. So there's a 5 in one of those. Does that help us? Does that help us? I don't know. All right, I'm going to look at this black dot next. So this one can't be 2 or 6. So we could have 1, 2. This can't be 2. It could be 3, 6. We can't have 4, 8 because there'd be nothing to put up there. So it's got to be 1, 2, or 3, 6 actually, doesn't it? Because it can't be 2. Oh, it could be 4, 2. 4, 2 would work. 4, 2. We know there's a 2 up here somewhere. Two, 1, 3, 6, or 4, 8. Is there a reason that one of those doesn't work? Don't think so. All right, so let's see. What do we want to look at next? We know there's a 3 up here. I guess we could look. Let's look at this one maybe. So we can't have a 5 anywhere on here because we've already used up our 5s in rows 8 and 9 with these. So we can't have a 5, which means we can't have a 1 or a 9. Could we do 2, 6? I think so. Now, one thing we know is since we can't use a 5, these two cells are going to be the same. It's going to be like 262 or 626 or something. So those two are going to be the same, which is going to have to be up here. So it's got to be 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, or 8, which is a lot of options, but it's a starting point. Now, it has to be the same as this one, so it can't be 7. We know it can't be 1 because it would have to have a 5. 2 would have a 6. 4 would have an 8. 6 would have a 2. 8 would have so it's either right. So it's either 262, 626, or 484 or 848. But it's either 26 or 48 in some order. Which I guess is something. Not sure what it is. But it's something. This can't be 3, 6 because we've already got 3s there. So it has to be, and it can't be 4, 8. So it has to be 1, 2, or 2, 4. So it has to have a 2. And there's a 2 there, so this can't be a 2. This is a 2 with a 1 or a 4, which means these are not 2, which means this can't be 2, 6. So it's 4, 8 somehow. The 4, 8 then means this can't be 4, 8. It could still be 2, 1, or 3, 6 though. So there's a 2 here. And the 1, there's a 2 with a 1 or a 4 here, and the other 1 or 4 is over here. So this can't be a 1. There's a 2 up here. If 2 is there, it would have to have a 6. Which I think would work, unfortunately. Looks like I could have a 6 there at this point. No, I can't. This can't be 2, 6 because then you'd have no options here. And if this is a 2, that has to be a 6. So this can't be a 2. We have a 2 here, a 2 here. There has to be a 2 up there. It can't be right there. And it can't be right there. So this is a 2. Which makes that a 1 or a 4. Now we've got a 1, 4 pair in the box. What's right here? These are 5, 6, 8, and 9, I think. It's quite a few options, actually. Do we know anything about this one? It could be 1, 5, I think. Can't be 2, 6. It could be 3, 7 if you did it in that order. Can't be 4, 8. Can't be 5, 9. So it's got to be 1, 5 or 3, 7. And this one down here can't have a 5 because remember we had 5s already. The 5 has to be up here. So this can't have a 5. So it can't have 1, 5. It can't be 2, 6. It could be 3, 7. It can't be 4, 8. And it can't be 5, 9. It has to be 3, 7. Which means you have to have a well, we already knew you had to have a 3 down here anyways, I guess. You have to have a 7 down here. Okay. But these are 1, 5, 6, and 9. These can't be 5. Ah, this can't be 8 because the 4, 8 there. Oh, the 2. Look at that. The 2 sees the 4 there. That gives us 2, 3. Fours have a few options down here, unfortunately. We know there's 4 in one of these two. Oh, 2 in box 8. Because of these 2s, it can't be in any of those, and we already know it can't be in those. So this is a 2, which then gives us the 3 and the 2. That makes this a 1, which means this is not a 1. This is not a 1. The 3 down below gives us the order of the 3 and the 7 here, which means there's a 7 there. This is not a 7. The 7 goes there. This is not a 7, so that's not a 3. That's a 1, 5 pair, which gives us an 8 over there. 5, 1. That 1 is going to give us 4 and 1, which is going to give us the 2 and the 4. And that 4 will give us the 8, 4, 8. And all the dominoes are falling over now. The 6 there means that's not a 6. Well, they were falling. They're teetering. They're teetering. We got to get the last little bit to tumble now. Where do we need to look next? Oh, the 4 here gives us the 8 and the 4 there, which means this is not 8. 6, 9 pair gives us the 8 over there. This is 3, 6, and 7. That one can't be 6. That one can't be 7. And it can't be 3, so it's a 6. 3, 7 pair. In fact, 3, 7, 3, 7. The 3, 7 has to be in the middle here, so that's 3, 7. Which then means this is 1, 5, or 9, and we know it can't be 5. So it's 1, 9. 1, 5, 6, 9, just to finish the row, which means this is 4. Yep, 4. So 9, it can't be 1. Which means there's a 1 there, so this is not a 1. 3, 7, this is 1, 5, or 9. And it also can't be a 1. So the 5, 9 pair puts the 1 there, the 5 there. This is not a 1. 5, 9 pair makes this a 6. So those are not 6, puts the 6 in the middle there. The 1 there gives us the 9. 5, 9, 5, 1, 9. Those are not nines. 9. Okay, this is 3, 7, and 8, I believe. This one can't be 7 or 8, so it's a 3. Which can give us 7 and 3 and 7 and 8. To finish the column here, we need 3 and 5, and the 3 there will give us the order of those. These are 1, 2, 6, and 9. These can't be 6 or 2. This one can't be 2. It puts 2 there. The 1, 9 pair gives us the 6. The 1, 9 pair also gives us a 5 over here, which is going to give us 9 and 1 and 9 and 5. And the 6 there is going to give us 9 and 6. That 9 will give us 1 and 9, and the 1 gives us the 5, and the 1, timer stopped, looks good to me. All right, there you go. So that was Nana Bear or Nana Bear, or however you want to say it, by 2-10th. Very cool puzzle, fairly approachable puzzle. That was a fun one. It was neat. I liked this kind of starting bit at the top here that was pretty easy to give you something to kind of get going, so you weren't just spinning your wheels at first. That was good. Very nice. Neat idea. Thank you for that puzzle, 2-10th. Thank you for the star battle as well. Thank you for giving us 2 puzzles on Tuesday, 2-10th. Yeah, twos. There you go. I think I've said it enough times now. So, there you go. Let me know how you did with these puzzles in the comments below, and I'll see you again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.